Good morning, wellness family. So I'm currently getting ready to go lift some weights. And the thought that popped up in my mind was one of the hardest pills to swallow is the fact that most of our suffering as human beings is self-inflicted. You know what? It's a hard pill to swallow, but once you come home to yourself, um, and meet your true self and get to see the mask you've had to wear. And a lot of conditioning comes with it. You come to see that because once you unlock your freedom and you set yourself free, you realize that you've been holding the key all along. You know what I'm saying? And then you realize that, geez, like most of my suffering was self-inflicted. You just had to choose different because you're just choosing to suffer. It's actually most of it is a choice, and that's hard to understand. But you have to come home to understand. And I remember like one of my revelations as I've been on this journey with myself is choosing yourself. And I think I think next week that should be our intention, choosing yourself. And I know how silly that always sounds, like choose yourself. You know, we always hear it. I'm choosing myself now. And it sounds so small and shallow, but it's so big because every day of your life, every moment of your life, you're either choosing yourself or not choosing yourself. You're either working with yourself in partnership with yourself or you're working against yourself. And it's very unconscious. You know, that's why I say coming home to yourself reveals you to a whole lot of truth. That's where you become conscious. You become alive. It's like you awaken. It's like you just realize, man, I haven't been alive all these years, but I've been living. You know, it's coming home is it's such an awakening. It's a beautiful experience, truly. Choosing yourself was one of the biggest shifts as well. Just realizing like, wow, like you actually either are. You either are choosing yourself or not choosing yourself. You're either abandoning yourself in everyday situations or you are choosing yourself. You know what I'm saying? Every moment you have decisions to make. Every moment you're doing something, and in that decision, are you choosing yourself or are you abandoning yourself? Are you rejecting yourself? You know, and that's where the healing comes in. You know, you come to realize, like, are you living in self-abandonment and self-rejection? You know, and most of that is conditioning because most of what we're taught is to live outside of ourselves, to people please, to prove, to, you know, seek validation and assurance outside of ourselves. So when you come home, a lot of that is revealed, the mask, the performative you. So yeah, and that's what JTD does, right? JTD takes you on that journey with yourself, right? You come home, you're on that journey of coming home to yourself. And really what that means is you come to truly meet yourself without the mask, without the conditioning, without, you know, who you've had to be and who, you know, your parents have groomed you to be. And you come home to meet your true self and you uncage yourself. That's where your freedom lies, your fulfillment lies, your purpose lies. You know what I mean? You get to reconnect with yourself, with your God self. And, yeah, so that's JTD, baby, the journey to my dream. And the biggest awakening is like, there is no dream, honey. The dream is you. It's been you all along. The dream is coming home, honey. You are the dream. Okay. And here's the interesting part, family. Choosing yourself is a muscle. It's a muscle you must practice. Okay? Because our upbringings are based on what? We are conditioned to be a good girl, to be a good boy, based on what? Based on our parents' perspective on life, right? And some are good, some are bad, right? You're taught to have manners as a good thing, right? So we are taught how to be and we're taught how to feel. That's what the conditioning means, right? So most of our being, we are taught to perform for our parents, perform for our teachers, to be a good girl, to be a good boy. So we're taught most of the time not to choose ourselves. So choosing yourself is not something we're taught. Choosing to be true to ourselves is something we're not taught. We're taught to actually perform, right? So it's a practice. It's a muscle you must practice, choosing yourself, being true to yourself. That's what the journey of coming home to yourself really means. You're learning to choose yourself. You're learning to allow yourself to be who you truly are, to be true to yourself. And that's what I was saying actually the video I posted today, this week, is that I'm at a stage where I am learning to allow myself to be myself. And that's the craziest part. You come to realize, like, I can't believe it's not easy for me to be who I truly am. But it's because you're not taught to be. We're taught to perform. We're taught to be a good boy or a good girl for people outside of us, right? So the journey of coming home to yourself is now you're finally being who you truly are. You're now learning to be true to yourself. You're choosing yourself. That's why I say there's so much depth in the phrase, choose yourself. Okay? Good morning. To be honest, family, let me be very raw. Okay, I was kind of being very polite there. The journey of coming home to yourself, yes, it's about you learning to choose yourself and to be true to yourself and reconnecting with yourself, your God self. But let me put it very raw and unfiltered. Coming home to yourself is where you learn to not give a fuck. Okay? To not give a fuck what nobody thinks. And respectfully. Because it can be done respectfully. Okay? You just learn to not give a fuck. And you start to be true to yourself. You stop lying. Lying is the performative you. Lying means the mask you've had to wear to be a good boy or a good girl. To be a humble person. All that acting stuff. You know what I'm saying? You drop the mask. Honestly, that's as raw as it gets. Coming home to yourself is learning to not give a fuck what people think about you. And you live in truth. You live in honor of yourself. You live for God. You live for you, for self. Self is God. The only way to experience true freedom is living in your truth. Is being true to yourself. That is really what freedom is. Right? Living in your truth. And to experience the highest emotions that life have to offer, which is joy, love, fulfillment. Those emotions can only be experienced once you break the habit of being yourself. And the habit of being yourself that we're talking about is the habit of you living with a mask, you performing and pleasing people and not yourself. You have to drop the mask. And that's one of the things that you get to learn on the journey of coming home to yourself. To live in truth, your truth. There's no one truth. There's your truth. Learning to be true to yourself. That is true freedom.